Today, I'll be continuing with my schedule discussion and point spread prediction videos. Today, I'll be doing Tennessee. Mm. So, Tennessee was a pretty disappointing team last season, really. In 2022, they had a really good season where they went 11-2 with a New Year's Six bowl win. But last season they weren't a bad team. Uh, they went 9-4, but they were expected to be about as good uh, last season as they were in 2022, and their offense wasn't near as good last year. Their defense, I thought, was a little bit better, but their offense was just so much far behind what it was in 2022 that their record wasn't as good. And this season, I think their offense will be better than it was last season. But I don't think it'll be as good as it was in 2022. And their defense, I think, will probably either be about the same or maybe a little bit worse. And right now, I'll go and tell you, I don't really think Tennessee is a possibility to win the SEC championship this season. Uh, they might be able to make the 12-team playoff, and even that I think right now is unlikely. But I don't think they're going to have any chance of winning the national championship. Mm, and so Josh Heupel, who is the head coach of Tennessee, the kind of offense that he runs, he calls the plays on offense himself, but he runs a kind of offense that uh, is really fast. Is soon as a play is over, the players run up to the line of scrimmage to snap the ball again, and that can make it tough on defenses to stop. Uh, but it also makes it tough on your own defense when you do run that kind of an offense because, like, if you score in like 2 minutes of game time, then your defense doesn't get much time to rest and it will get tired. Uh, and taking a look at this schedule, it is a pretty tough schedule, but it could have been worse. Some good news is they don't have to play Ole Miss or Texas or LSU. Probably going to be three of the best teams in the SEC this season. Uh, and they get three easy wins in the non-conference. Chattanooga, Kent State, and UTEP. They should destroy all of them. And then they have one Power Four non-conference game against NC State. That'll be a neutral game played in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm pretty sure that's closer to NC State because it's in North Carolina. But uh, mm, still, it shouldn't hurt Tennessee much with where it's going to be played at. And NC State right now is expected to be a top 25 team. This will be a tough one for Tennessee. But I do think that Tennessee does have a little bit better of a roster than NC State, and this is a game that they should be able to win. Mm. And mm, they start their conference schedule on the road at Oklahoma. Tennessee will be the team to welcome Oklahoma into the SEC because if you saw my Oklahoma video, you saw that Tennessee is their first SEC game. So this will be an interesting one, and this will be a really tough one for Tennessee to win because Oklahoma is a very tough place to play, and I think right now Oklahoma is a better team than Tennessee. Mm. And then they get a week off before a road game against Arkansas, and I know I have been saying Arkansas is not going to be very good, and I don't think they're going to be very good, but these are two road games in a row, and Uh, I actually think that this was a pretty good time for the first week off. Because Arkansas has a lot of times in the past beat a team that uh, is a lot better than them. And Tennessee hasn't proven yet, coached by Josh Heupel, that they can always beat the teams that they are better than. Mm. And then next, mm, they play Florida, and it's a home game, and I think Tennessee's going to be much better than Florida. Uh, should be a win for them, but Tennessee was a better team than Florida was last season, uh, and Florida still beat them by like 2 touchdowns, and Florida has owned Tennessee. Tennessee's 2-17 in the past 19 years against them, so far from a sure win for Tennessee. Uh, and then next, uh, they have a big rivalry game against Alabama. Alabama's been their rival from the opposite division. Of course, now divisions are going away in the SEC, but this rivalry will continue yearly. It'll be a home game, and Tennessee does have a big home field advantage. I would give them a good chance in this one. The last time these two teams played at Tennessee, Tennessee won. It was a really good game, very high scoring. It was 52-49, and Alabama, I don't think will be good enough to score 49 on uh, Tennessee this year, but I don't think Tennessee's offense is going to be good enough to score 52 on anybody except these three uh, non-conference uh, teams uh, that aren't from the Power Four and Vanderbilt. And Alabama has owned Tennessee, except for that one time. Alabama has always beat them, coached by Nick Saban. Tennessee is 1-16 in the last 17 years against Alabama, but of course Nick Saban's gone, so we'll see if maybe that can change. And then next they get their second week off. I don't really like where this comes. It would have been better to have that before Alabama. Uh, Kentucky though will probably be a pretty tough game, but mm, it is a game that, especially at home, I think Tennessee should uh, be able to handle. And then next, a home game against Mississippi State. I think Tennessee should be able to handle them fairly easily. Mississippi State's not going to be very good. Uh, and then they have on the road at Georgia. This is a game I wouldn't give Tennessee much of a chance, and uh, because uh, especially it being on the road, Georgia uh, is a really tough place to play, and I think they're much better than Tennessee. And in the 3 years that Josh Heupel has been Tennessee's head coach, his offenses have given a lot of SEC teams, including Alabama, some problems. But Georgia's not one of them. In three games against Georgia, Tennessee has scored a total of 40 points, which is not very good. And his offenses have not just struggled to score on Georgia, but they've struggled to just move the ball on them to use up clock. And I don't expect that to be any different this year. And Georgia's offense is going to be too good, and Tennessee's defense isn't going to be good enough to hold Georgia down to like uh, 10 points, and that's probably what they would have to do to be able to win this game. And mm, at the end, they have their in-state rivalry game, but not much of a rivalry on the road at Vanderbilt. That's a place that's not tough at all to play. Vanderbilt has like no home field advantage, and that's a game that Tennessee should win easily. So now I'll move on to the prediction. So, if you want to see more about how I do the point spreads, you can watch my Ohio State video. But uh, the games in the green are games where I think Tennessee will be uh, favored to win by a blowout. So that's 20 or more points. And there's four of those: Chattanooga, Kent State, UTEP, and Vanderbilt. And then the games in the blue are the games where I think Tennessee will be favored to win by uh, double digits, 10 to 19 points. So uh, that's not a close spread, but it's not a blowout spread. And there's one of those, Mississippi State. And then the games in the purple are games where I think they'll be favored to win by about a touchdown. So that's 6 to 9 points. And there's four of those: NC State, Arkansas, Florida, and Kentucky. Mm, And then the games in the uh, gray are games where I think Tennessee will be about a field goal underdog, so 1 to 5 points. And there's one of those, Alabama. Uh, and the games in the yellow are games where I think Tennessee will be about a touchdown underdog, so that's 6 to 9 points. And there's one of those, Oklahoma. And uh, the games in the orange are the games where I think Tennessee will be a double digit underdog, but not a blowout underdog. So that's 10 to 19 points. And there's one, Georgia. Mm. And uh, mm, Chattanooga, uh, Tennessee will probably be favored in that one by like 45 points. And Kent State and UTEP, the spread in those will probably be somewhere in the 30s. And Vanderbilt, they'll probably be favored to win that one by around 20 points. Mm, and Mississippi State, I think Tennessee will probably be about a 10-point favorite in that one. If it was at Mississippi State, they'd be in the purple. Uh, and NC State, I think Tennessee will probably be favored in that one by about 6 points, maybe seven. Uh, mm, and Arkansas, if it was a home game, it'd be in the blue, but because it's on the road, I think Tennessee will probably be favored by about seven in that one. In Florida, I think Tennessee will probably be about a 7 point favorite in that one. Uh, and Kentucky, I think probably Tennessee will be favored in that one by about six. And Alabama will probably be favored to beat Tennessee by about three. Mm, And Oklahoma, that's a tough one. It could be in the gray, but uh, because it's a road game and Oklahoma's probably a little bit better, I think Oklahoma will probably be favored to beat Tennessee by about six. Uh, and then Georgia, I think Tennessee will be a two touchdown underdog in that one, uh, probably about 14 points. And uh, really, uh, Tennessee's biggest three rivals, Florida, Alabama, and Georgia, have all owned them. Uh, Georgia's 12-2 in the last 14 games against Tennessee. Uh, mm, and I'm not including Vanderbilt because that's no rivalry. They're not much better than an FCS team. Uh, and uh, mm, that will be about it with this video. And uh, please subscribe and thanks for watching. And I'll be back soon.